Hello there, my name's John Bone and welcome to our little update on the novel coronavirus and the implication for the CFA exams. Firstly, all of us at Kaplan Schweser really want to wish you and your family the very best in this difficult time. We know it's a worrying time globally. You must prioritise you and your family's health and well-being over everything else right now, and that of course includes CFA studies. We highly recommend you follow government guidelines and really take no chances. Now remember, if a delay in you taking a level of the CFA exams is the worst thing that happens to you as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, then you've got away very, very lightly. So keep this all in perspective. Now, the purpose of this short video is really to talk about the information that we've received from the CFA Institute so far, the implication for your studies, and also concerns that you may have. Okay, so let's have a look at the information that we've all received from the CFA Institute so far, and this should have been emailed to individual candidates as well. As you'll know by now, the June 2020 exam sitting has been postponed globally, so we will not be taking the exam in June 2020 anywhere around the world. Now, of course, that's likely to cause two emotions in candidates. Number one, some candidates are going to be feeling frustration. The fact is, they feel that they've prepared well up until now, they're 2 months away from the exam, and they feel they've wasted their time getting prepared. Well, of course you've not wasted your time getting prepared. You're still going to be using that knowledge for the exam when you do finally take it. So just think of yourself as being further along that line of being prepared. Now, the other feeling that a lot of people have is relief. Now, of course, major difficulty of the CFA exams is not technical difficulty. It's really trying to condense your studies into the window allowed and actually be prepared for the exam. Now, of course, what we now have is a bit of a relief because we've now got more time to study. So most candidates will be behind with their studies, and the key thing to take from this is now you've got time to fix those bits of the syllabus that you didn't understand and to catch up. So what options have we got for taking the exam? Well, the CFA Institute have given us two options so far. They've talked about the December 2020 examination being opened up for all three levels, and they've also talked about using the June 2021 exam. So let's consider those in turn. Now, with the December 2020, of course, that's normally level 1 December only. But now we're saying not only is it level 1 December, but we're going to have level 1 June. We're going to have candidates studying for CFA June, level 2 and level 3, all in that exam hall. So when I think about that, number one, I think, is this going to be possible? Remember, the CFA Institute book these venues for these exams out years in advance. Is it going to be possible to get the capacity to test all three levels simultaneously in December 2020? Well, again, we don't know that yet. CFA, of course, hopefully will communicate more information on that before the 8th of May. Now, the good news, if you do get to sit in December 2020, is it will definitely be testing on the 2020 curriculum, i.e. the curriculum that you've been studying so far. But remember, of course, there is no guarantee at this stage that 2020 December exams will even go ahead. Remember, we're in a very fluid time. We don't know how long the coronavirus and lockdowns are going to last. So, for example, London, where this video is being recorded, has just gone into lockdown with essentially no end date as known. So, again, it's a very fluid situation, and we will keep you updated as soon as we find out hard and fast facts relating to that December 2020 exam. Now, the alternative is to move candidates to June 2021, and this brings up a level of uncertainty, particularly regarding what curriculum will be tested. If we're deferring people to 2021, will they be tested on the 2020 syllabus, or will they be tested on the new 2021 syllabus? Now, of course, there are likely to be some changes between 2020 and 2021. At the moment, CFA Institute have not mentioned which curriculum will be tested if people are deferred into June 2021. So again, as soon as we have more information on that, we will let you know. CFA Institute currently are offering no refunds on exam fees. Again, their argument here is the exam hasn't been cancelled, it's just been deferred. Now, very critically, CFA Institute will be in touch with both us, the prep providers, and also you, the candidates, with detailed proposals before the 8th of May. So hopefully that will give us more clarity into exactly what's happening regarding December 2020 sittings and possible June 2021 deferrals. What's the immediate impact for your Schweser products? Now, of course, one thing you may notice is that your Schweser products had an expiry date of June for the June examinations. Now, of course, one thing that we will do is push all of those expiry dates backwards to make sure that you are covered for whenever you take the exam. Now, if you're a classroom learner with us, so you've been attending physical classroom courses, you will note no matter where you are in the world, those classrooms have been closed down, and we've moved everybody onto our 15-week live online program for the remaining courses. Now, again, you can access those via the Schweser LMS. So everybody is now on the 15-week live online. And don't forget, of course, you've got archives of the 15-week live online for dates that have already passed. Our proposal with the 15-week live online is to continue as per schedule, i.e. we're going to run to the final completion dates that are in 4 or 5 weeks' time. Reason for this, rather than just delaying it and then starting it up later, is we feel that whilst you're in the mode of studying and whilst you're based on that instruction phase, it's best to get to the end of the instruction phase, cover all the materials, and then potentially consider taking a break in your studies. Now, with review courses, if you've booked on a review course, whether that is a classroom-based review course or whether that is an online-based review course, there's very little merit in having your review course in April, May, when the exam is likely to be in December or even into next June. So, of course, we will be pushing back all of our review courses, so they're likely now to run September, October, November for that December examination window. Again, we'll be providing you with more details about those proposals at a later date. As we've already mentioned, access to the Schweser learning management system, so this is all your online tools like videos, like the live online classes, the QBank, etc. Automatically, we're extending those to 2020 to cover you all the way up to the next exam. If you end up deferring your exam to June 2021, again, of course, we will accommodate that as well as soon as we receive more information from the CFA Institute about how that's exactly going to work. So, how is it going to affect your studies, which is the main thing, of course, that you are probably worried about? Now, as I said already, one of the things that makes the CFA exams hard is the time pressure you're under. Trying to cram those studies from January into starting in January and actually taking the exam in June. Now, typically, that means most of us have been looking at needing to put in 15 hours per week to get to that magic 300 hours of study that we hear bandied about. Now, of course, that actually means that most candidates that are not going to be successful in the exams fail due to being underprepared, and that's often due to running out of time. Well, suddenly, we've essentially got an extra 25 weeks to study. So that time pressure is significantly reduced. So what are our options with this extra time pressure? First of all, you can afford to take a break. Now, we think it's important that you continue with your studies. Okay, so don't take a break of many months, but you might want to take a 2-3 week little break here, especially during the height of the coronavirus, to make sure that you're isolating correctly and not really worry about keeping up with your CFA studies. Alternatively, you might take the opinion that if you're locked down and you're home working, now is the perfect time to crack the majority of your CFA studies and continue with your studies and maybe take a little break in a few months' time. I think the key point, though, is we can slow the pace of our studies down. So rather than looking at that 15 hours per week to get in our 300 hours, now we're looking at reducing maybe to 5 or 7 hours per week with our studies. Now, of course, you're going to need to ramp that back up in the fall. So once we get into October, November time, then it's back up to 15 hours per week with a focus on review. Of course, we're going to be there for you every step of the way. You've got access to your tutors at all times. That might be via their personal email address, or it might be via the instructor link on the LMS. And we'll be adding both live and recording products free of charge to the LMS to cover you over this extra time and provide that extra contact with your tutors, and to make sure your studies remain on track. Key thing essentially to say with keeping your studies on track is don't completely curtail your studies. Don't stop completely, because the danger is if you stop completely, then your retention starts to drop back. So keep those studies going, but reduce the number of hours per week would be our recommendation for you. Now, we will be producing specific guides to how to study during the coronavirus. So we'll be sending those out in the next couple of weeks for level 1, level 2, level 3. That's more specific to the level rather than this rather generic presentation that I'm giving now. So what are your next steps with your studies? Well, we think finish instruction. Broadly speaking, the Schweser products and elements break down into instruction and review. Instruction is all about giving you the technical expertise and making sure you understand the concepts. Once we get to review, it's all about preparing for the exam, working on recall, working on retention of information, and of course getting used to the actual exam style. So we're saying don't worry about review now. That's all getting shifted all the way to September, October, November. We'll worry about that then. But let's finish the instruction phase. Let's make sure we've got that technical knowledge in place. And let's use this extra time to ensure that, that we've mastered the CFA syllabus. Okay, so what kind of things have you got that you could be looking at? Well, of course, if you haven't as yet, complete the module quizzes. Okay, those are at the end of every module. Of course, once you finish each topic, and when I say topics, I mean things like financial reporting analysis, economics, equity, etc. There is a topic assessment both in the books and available online. You can choose between each one. Make sure you have a go at doing those to make sure you've understood that topic. And then one other thing that people often forget is the checkpoint exams. Now, these checkpoint exams are exam standard question in exam format. Essentially what we've done is we've broken down the syllabus into thirds and set a little, if you like, mock exam, which we call these checkpoint exams, for each third of the material. Again, they're available at level 1, level 2, level 3. So I'd be doing all of these quizzes and I'd be asking myself, am I scoring less than 70% when I tackle them? Because if I am, it's telling me I've got a bit of a knowledge gap or a weakness. Now, it's important to debrief all answers thoroughly. If you're debriefing an answer and you think, yeah, I just made a silly mistake, then you just need extra question practice on that area and turn to the Schweser Pro Q Bank. If you're debriefing answers and you're looking at them and you're thinking, I just don't understand this, or I've never seen this before, that's telling you you've got a knowledge gap and you need to go back. And of course, you can rewatch the class videos, the module videos at all times. Okay, and of course, remember, your tutors are there for you during this time. Keep on sending your queries in to your tutors. You can do that via the LMS, the online platform for the Schweser, by clicking on the study tools icon, which is the little ruler and pen. Once you do that, that's in the top right of your screen. Once you do that, look at the instruction column, and down the bottom of that column, you'll find instructor link. Click on that, and you can send technical queries into your tutors. What about review courses? Well, as we've said, review courses, those are all going to be postponed now. We're not worrying about those until we get into September, October, November. So now your focus should be not on thinking about review, but instead making sure you've got the technical knowledge required under the instruction phase. So go back to any areas that you struggled with when you were first going through them in class, or when you were studying in the Schweser notes. Have a look at the videos, read the Schweser notes, practice more questions. Key lesson is we've now got time to actually cover off our weak areas. Now, what I want to avoid you doing is taking all of the practice exams now, and then when we roll forward into the fall and towards that December exam window, if it takes place, you've got no practice exams or mock exams to practice with. So don't use your practice exams and mocks until the last couple of months. You want to be using these as your litmus test to see, are you ready for the exam? And the danger is, if you've done them all now, then essentially you've got nothing to practice with, nothing to benchmark your progress with in those last couple of months. Now, again, I can't stress, more importantly, that right now, until that final few months of review, all you're focusing on is technical understanding. You do not need to worry about the exam format. Okay, so whether that is standalone questions at level 1, items at level 2, or constructed response at level 3, that is not your worry right now. Push those worries all the way to the review phase, September, October, November. That's when we'll start to get real with the exam. That's when we'll start to feed you exam-like questions and really build you up towards that exam. So very important that you don't use all of your practice exams and mock exams too early. Now, we recommend maybe taking or planning to take a single practice exam as a diagnostic tool in maybe mid-late September, sometime in September. Now, what you're doing with this practice exam is not worrying about your overall score. Yeah, it'll be great if you get over 70% on it, but if you get less than 70%, what you're looking for is your performance on the various topic areas. So how did I do in ethics? How did I do in economics? How did I do in financial reporting analysis? And you're using this to try and build up a plan of where your weaknesses lie. Hey, I sucked in financial reporting analysis. I got less than 50%. Well, that's clearly an area of weakness. So you need to go back and start building questions in Schweser Pro on financial reporting analysis. Now, we always have a danger that students want to read and note take endlessly with the exams. Again, those have been shown to have very little effectiveness towards your studies. What is far more effective is question practice. And now suddenly that window is opened up so you can get more question practice in there. Only really need to return to Schweser notes or Schweser videos or module videos if you're getting questions wrong and you don't understand the answers. So use that practice exam, that first practice exam in September, as a diagnostic tool just to see where your strengths and weaknesses lie across the topic areas, and then use Schweser Pro primarily to fill in your weaknesses. Okay, now of course, you've got time now to use the videos and the Schweser Pro QBank to improve your performance. Videos, useful. Note-taking, useful. Reading, useful, but it pales into insignificance compared to question practice. So again, I'm going to really drive this point home to you. If there's anything you can be doing with this extra time, it is extra question practice. More questions you can do now, less surprises you get in the exam. Now, you can actually prove this to yourself. Try and read a couple of pages of the Schweser notes or the CFA Institute's notes tonight, and then try and remember what you read, let's say next Monday. Chances are you can't remember the topic, let alone the detail. It's just not how the human brain works. Trouble is, once we get stressed, we move back towards studying that way because that's how we studied at university, and it feels natural. I'm going to study by reading and taking notes. Okay. Now, reality is, in all the studies that have been undertaken on this matter, question practice is so much more effective in developing understanding. Nothing like getting a question wrong and working out why to improve your understanding. And number 2, it massively aids retention. Now, what I would suggest is maybe when you're reading or watching the videos, every few pages that you read, pause and then say back to yourself, what have you just read? In other words, explain what you've just read or what you've just watched on the videos back to yourself. Because if you can't explain it in your own words, you didn't understand it. And of course, I've got Ask Tutors for help. We are here for you. We understand your anxieties over this period, and we are here to help you with technical questions, but also to help you with any study anxiety that you have. What should I be doing next? I'm thinking about doing this. Is that the right move? Email us. Okay, we'll give you our opinion. We've been preparing CFA candidates for decades for this exam, so we've built up a little bit of expertise on that area. Let's just finish off this video with talking about some major concerns. Now, one concern I've had from a number of candidates is, if I end up taking level 2 in December, will I be able to study for level 3 for the June 2021 exam? Now, actually, we already have this problem at level 1. We have candidates that take level 1 essentially in December and want to start preparing for level 2 for the June exams. So we're used to dealing with this, and as a result, we run what we call jumpstart packages. So free of charge, we give access to Schweser Notes, the first book of Schweser Notes, access to the 15-week online class until exam results are released, and access to Schweser Pro until exams are released. In other words, once you've sat that December exam, we will release materials for you to you that allow you to start studying towards the next level for the June exams free of charge. Now, of course, once the results are out for those December exams, then essentially you can sign up to the next level. So yes, we understand that's an anxiety. We already have the products in place at level 1, and of course we'll roll those out to level 2 to let you level 2 guys get started with your level 3. I would say don't worry about the next level though until you have sat that December exam. Okay, get that out of the way, focus on that, get a pass there, okay? As soon as you've sat that exam, hey, then consider maybe making a jump start on the next level. I'm worried about forgetting what I already know is another question. Well, of course, this really comes down to the use it or lose it phenomenon. We suggest that you don't completely, park your studies, but you just slow down the pace of your studies. So keep studying, keep building your self-tests using Schweser Pro. Build your self some tests on all the topic areas that you've studied so far, just to keep that material ticking away in the background. But again, best way of making sure you don't forget what you've already studied is question practice, and use that Schweser Pro where you can customize tests on certain topic areas, certain readings, certain LOSs to make sure you are continually testing. That will stop the knowledge fading away without putting too much pressure on your time. Will Schweser extend the life of my online products? We've really already covered this one off. Of course we will. We will make sure that you have access to your Schweser products until the exam that you sit. So that's December 2020, or if you end up being deferred until June 2021, we will make sure you are covered there. How will Schweser support my studies now I have extra time? Well, we will be adding free of charge extra elements to your Schweser LMS, such as live tutor-led study groups, such as pre-recorded classes, extra pre-recorded classes. We'll be releasing more information on those in our level-specific videos that we will be dropping onto YouTube in the very near future. Now, another question I've got a lot is, will this extra time to study affect pass rates? Well, you would assume that it would, because according to the CFA Institute's own website, and I've given you the link here where you can find the documents that claim this, they require a consistent standard of competency level across years. So if you've got more time to study, presumably you will improve your competency level. And if they're going to keep that consistent year to year, I would expect, therefore, you to have a better chance of passing the exam. But remember, all candidates have this extra window of time available to them, so make sure you don't waste it. Make sure you keep those studies going. Keep them ticking over. Use this time to go back, review those areas that you didn't understand. So maybe you were in class when we covered level 2 pensions and you thought, I have no idea about this. Well, now you've got time. Go back, re-review that class, watch the Schweser module videos, and take as many question practices as you can. Okay, in terms of contacting us, remember CFA content questions, you can get in contact with us via instructor link on the LMS, or any details provided by your classroom-based tutor if they've given your email address, etc. If you want student support in terms of products, delaying sittings, etc., then that can be accessed via the Schweser website and scrolling down to the bottom of the home page. All that leaves me to do is wish you the very best of health. I know it's a worrying time. You know, as I said, we're locked down in London, unable to leave the house, and homeschooling my children. Okay, so that's a frightening prospect in its own right. Please stay safe, and all the best wishes over this period. We're here for you. We will keep in touch with you. Good luck.